Yo, what is going on, boys? So I got my guy Prince here, who's absolutely crushing it in the online scene. Now we're gonna chop it up, talk about business, life, Miami, politics, etc. But let's continue the convo. I want to give you an intro real quick. So like, for the people that don't know you, give me a quick give me your elevator pitch, bro.
Well, my name is Prince Fortunatus Namdi. People call me Prince, but my actual name is Fortunatus, which is a very rare name, and I'm from Austria. I was an athlete, still am an athlete. I'm literally trying to go to the Olympics. But I do a lot of business because with athletics, you can't make so much money unless you're the top of the top of the top. So that's why business is good. Everyone should try business because it's a way to make money without having anyone to tell you what to do. So I started in the United States. I started near Atlanta. And that's when I started doing online business and started that in 2021. And yeah, it was good. Started making my 10K months, then my 50K months, then my 100K months. By the time I was 22, I was literally still in college, which just shows you everything's possible if you just try, which is what we're gonna talk about today. You just have to try. And now here I am. That's pretty much it.
Oh yeah, that's awesome, bro. I always say this too, like a lot of people, they hear these big numbers online, like 100,000 a month, 500,000 a month. I used to hear stuff like that, and it wouldn't discourage me. I've always had a winning mentality. I wasn't like, comparison's the thief of joy. No, I was like, okay, if that dude's doing 500, how is he doing that shit? But it's a game of compound interest with business. You know what I mean?
It's a good point because you say thief of joy. If you really want to be a high level operator, you have to get away from the idea that you're doing it for joy. If anything, you will probably feel like shit most of the time because you're comparing yourself to other people. You're comparing even your state or the way you were to what you could be or maybe how you were before. And you're under so much constant stress, not because there's anything wrong with you, but it's because you're pushing hard. It's almost like you need to force the universe to adapt to the reality that you see in your mind, and you're forcing the universe to adapt to that exact mentality. I do believe in manifestation and all that, but I don't believe in the woo-woo version of it. I believe in that you have a vision and you go out there and you try everything you can. You never give up. You force your way through it, and eventually you just get there. That's what I believe in. So absolutely. Thief of joy, well, you don't need joy. I would rather be a sad winner than a quote-unquote happy loser, if that even makes sense. Not for me, I guess, but how does it for you? What do you think about it?
Pretty much what you're saying is happiness isn't the key performance indicator of a man. It's conquering. You got to think it's biblical too. When God made Adam in the Bible, he said, multiply, be fruitful, and have dominion over the earth.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So I feel like every young man to some degree is born to conquer. Like
he never said be happy, right?
Exactly. Never said be happy. So when I was a kid, bro, I grew up in Arizona. So we're in the desert and shit. I used to just find the tallest mountain, and I'm like, we're gonna go on that mountain. We're gonna take all the burnt down wood and we're gonna build fortresses.
Yeah.
This is me at 12 years old. You know what I mean? So I always had something that grew and grew, and I feel like business is the easiest way to express that in modern day time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Because the thing with, let's say, athletics, for example, I want to go to the Olympics. That is not only hard in the sense that you have to train hard, but you need elite level genetics. That's another thing. So there's many things, such as being a singer, being a musician, can't think of any other examples, but very niche things where you almost have to be born with a specific talent. Business is the only thing where any individual can just become competent in a certain field and then sell that competency to other people, right? And that's why I think it's every man's obligation to quote unquote fight in the business realm as well. And I was gonna say this. So if you think about it, I was just thinking about this lately. I was like, we now live in times of peace, relatively speaking, because we have all these cities, we have all these skyscrapers, all these air-conditioned places, offices. Life is relatively peaceful. If you lived 100 years ago, you were in a world war, maybe, or you were living in poverty, or you're living in famine. And now all you gotta do is press a few keystrokes and get rich, or at least make more money than the average person. We're talking about 100K months, but in reality, you only have to make enough money where you're not completely dependent on a job. And all you gotta do is whip out your phone or your computer, press a few keystrokes, present the right pixels, and you make money. So it's really not that it's not that deep. In the past, people would go to wars and be traumatized for life. Now people are like, oh, I'm sad, I'm depressed. Bro, get the fuck out of here. I just don't buy it. I think it's bullshit. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, they're depressed because they're not conquering. You know what I mean? Like you said, it's as easy as pressing a few keystrokes. I feel like so many people correlate success with hard work alone when it's smart work and efficiency. So, you know, I'd grow up and, you know, I'd work at pizza places and I'd have coworkers that were 50 years old. Like, you know, I worked here for 20 years. And I'd be walking, you know, home from the bus stop and I'd see these construction workers in 110-degree heat. And I was like, if they're not fucking rich, something's off. All my friends would tell me like, Vincent, it takes hard work and it takes time and et cetera. And I always had, you know, my mom was always very conscious, but she didn't have courage. She'd go, you know, Vincent, you know, it's as easy or as hard as you make it and et cetera. But she wasn't a living example of what she was saying because, you know, my mom's a woman. You know, so I took all of her principles and I had the fearlessness and the courage to put it into action. I was like, I'm just going to hunt. You know what I mean? I know it's not going to come from hard work. I'm going to find out what successful people are doing. And a lot of the time, you know, like these people aren't working like a motherfucker. Like I went to Supercar Saturday when I first came to Miami. And, you know, I just bought my first Huracan after like 4 or 5 years of entrepreneurship. And I was thinking these people would be like on their phones and working hard and, hey, I have this business meeting, phone call. That's what people correlate to success. But these dudes were like, hey, you want to ride up to Fort Lauderdale? Yeah, let's go to this one palace. Yeah, after that, you know, we're going to spin to his watch shop. We're going to buy some watches. And then after that, you want to smoke cigar. And I'm like, these dudes are fucking hanging out. You know what I mean? So
that's true.
You know, I'm on this journey of trying to make it, but I'm realizing these people that have made it and have escaped are living life on free mode.
How do you think mindset correlates to people becoming successful, and how does it relate to you? Did you ever have a certain mindset change where you kind of went from maybe you had some limiting beliefs, or maybe there was something holding you back, to all of a sudden breaking through and hitting numbers that you didn't think were even possible maybe?
Yeah, you know what I think it is? I think it's intelligence, number one. I think it's courage, number two. And I think it's laziness, number three.
Okay, laziness.
I was intelligent, I was courageous, and I was also lazy. Like in school, that leads to failure. You know what I mean? Like I'm failing all my tests. But before that, you know, I'd get the smart kids, I'd pay them to do my homework. When I was first starting my entrepreneur journey, I'd sell stuff door to door. I wouldn't be selling, I'd have my cousin sell because he was more social.
You see, that's already a key point in entrepreneurship, having other people do stuff for you.
Exactly. So rich people are so lazy to have other people do everything for them. And eventually, I mean, that's all a business is other people doing shit for you. That's all systems are.
Yeah, that's actually a good point, because I had this guy, he asked me, you know, Prince, how you make all this money, blah, blah, blah. Like, how can I get started? And I thought about what's the most basic advice I could give when it comes to business. Because I feel like in the beginning, people, they overcomplicate business. They think they have to be the next Facebook, the next Mark Zuckerberg. They have to invent the next Google. That's so funny, because I had this other guy, before I tell the story, but I have this guy. We are friends, used to be friends. And I will tell him, bro, just do XXX and you can make 20K a month. And you know what he told me? He would be like, nah, Prince, I'm good, because I'm trying to do the next best thing. If it's not a $10 million idea, I'm not doing it. And it just flabbergasted me. I literally thought the guy was a retard. I was thinking to myself, how the hell are you gonna be in debt and not push hard? And you're telling me that you wanna be this big shot. He was like, Prince, if I can't sell it for 100 million, I'm not in it. I'm just like, bro, you're fucking stupid. I told him that. And the point is, though, you don't have to create the next best thing. So what you have to do, essentially, that's what I told my other guy. The most basic advice for business is you become competent or semi-competent in something. And once you become semi-competent in it, you quote unquote get hired by someone to do the job. You get a client, and then you just teach that skill that you have to someone else who's gonna do it for less money that you pay, and then you do arbitrage. That's the most simple way I can really see business, and the most simple way how you can make money. And that can literally be anything. It could literally be like you're delivering pizza, and then you tell your cousin, yo, bro, I know you're looking for a job. Do this shit for me. I'm gonna pay you, but you're paying him less, and now he's delivering the pizza for you. You ain't doing shit. But now you're just doing it at a bigger level. It might be with websites, might be some other form of marketing you're doing, just arbitrage business. So do you do that in the way you run your business at all? Or?
I mean, now definitely, like, you know, service-based or arbitrage, I feel like another key factor to add to that is I'm a big believer in high margins. If you want to go if you want to be young and rich, if you don't want to be 40 years old and then you crack success, like people will be like, well, the KFC owner, it took him till he was 52, and this owner, and etc. I was like, I don't want to be 52 and rich, and I can't get out of my Lambo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like the quickest way that I went
doesn't get
from
hard anymore.
Exactly, bro. The quickest way I went from 0 to 100, bro. Very high margins, bro.
Yep.
And info. Like info is the easiest thing in the world because you're basically printing money out of thin air. There's nothing that you have to deliver. There's no product that you have to like make and buy all the parts and put it together and sell. No, it's like you said, you're selling your competency. Hey, I've walked down this path before. And if you want the blueprint to get there quicker, this is the middle ground.
Yeah.
So I feel like a very good way for everybody out there, arbitrage or being a consultant. That's what changed my life
which is almost information arbitrage, right?
Exactly. Yeah. That's all it is. You know what I mean? So I want to add to that point though, because a lot of people are unsuccessful while simultaneously thinking they have the world figured out. I'll try to give broke people advice. I'll give homeless people money. And while I'm giving them money, I'm saying, what's your plan, bro? Hey, well, my plan, I lost my backpack. And I was like, that was yesterday, bro. What are you doing today?
Yeah.
Well, I'm like, bro, you got to get more applications, get a job and sale. Well, yeah, that doesn't work for me specifically because I have ACD, ODHD. What the fuck are you saying? You know what I mean? It's like they have so many excuses. They think they have the world figured out, but at the same time, they're failing.
You see, that's so funny you say that because I'm a very stoic person, but if there's something that triggers me, it's exactly that. And I think every successful person somehow gets triggered by this because in order to be successful, you literally need brutal self-accountability. You need self-accountability to the point where you're going to start blaming yourself for things that are quote unquote not in control or quote unquote intangible. Because think about it. And I had this great example. I read this yesterday. So I was in my bed scrolling Twitter and I read this post and it said to make, let's say, $1 million a year, that's, I believe, 1 in 1,000 in the United States. Now, if you picture this, that's one person in your entire high school. To make 10 million a year, I believe he said it's 1 out of 10,000 people. Now that's one person out of the whole high school district. And then it goes up and up and up. The whole point is you need to be radically different in the way you think if you want to perform. In order to really make it, you just have to be extremely competitive. And the only way to become extremely competitive is if you blame yourself for everything you do, because that allows you to become competitive in the first place. So let's say you're a guy, the homeless guy, he was like, I got this, and it's out of my control. Well, if it's out of your control, that's like me pulling up to the 100 meters and saying, I'm not even gonna attempt to run the race. I'm not even gonna try to change it, which then completely destroys your ability to self-improve. So you need brutal self-accountability. And I've heard this before, I don't remember who said this, but if it rains, you can blame yourself for it raining and you getting caught off guard. If anything happens in your life, if your girlfriend wakes up, if your girlfriend cheats on you, it's your fault. If your friends don't respect you, it's your fault. If you don't have $10 million in the bank right now, it's your fault. If you don't have your dream physique, it is all your fault. And if you don't have brutal self-accountability, you will completely fail and you will never be able to improve, because success comes from the ability to self-analyze every single aspect of your life and your business, and then learning from your mistakes, almost like an AI, and then improving. So that's literally what I think has brought me to this level, to this point.
Yeah.
And how's it for you?
100%, bro. I used to, like I said, father passed away when I was 8 years old. I grew up around my mom.
Yeah.
And I said, Mom, this happened and that's not fair. She said, Vincent, life is unfair.
Yeah.
And, that quote right there helped me realize that this shit isn't an even playing ground of like, oh, everything's perfect and it's the way you want it to be. Sometimes it's not. And like you said, you blame yourself. Like even like this was 2 days ago, right? I was out a little bit too late. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't party, right? I was actually at the gym. And I had a kid that I flew out here and I was taking him for a rip in the SVJ through the tunnel.
Yeah.
And I dropped him off. It was like 1 a.m. And by the time I come back, I'm a little bit tired and I'm going up the ramp and I hear,
oh shit.
And I checked the side of my SVJ. The whole carbon fiber side at the bottom is all scraped up. The wheels scraped up. And I went, fuck. And my first instinct was, man, this kid, and I was out too late. And then I went, this is my fault though.
Yeah.
And I strolled back and forth across my penthouse for 2 hours self-analyzing. How did I allow this mistake to happen? Even though the side things are like this close, it's my fault.
Yep.
And that scrape is a reflection of not just the car itself, it was my own competence slipping. You know what I mean? And I'm self-analyzing for 2 hours and I'm like, I'm not gonna let that shit happen again. So yeah, that is something, it's self-mastery. I feel like that's the key because every single day is just life on loop. You do the same thing over and over again and you get better and better at that thing. And then once you do, it's like you beat the game and it's on easy mode.
Yeah, because in a perfect universe, even the most average person, you can wake up at 8 a.m., go to the gym. Well, the thing is, I don't know when people wake up to go to a job because I don't go to jobs. I don't know how the world works. But let's say you have a job at 9. You could wake up at 7 a.m., hit the gym, then it's 8. You shower, you get yourself ready, have a coffee, go to work. Then you work there until 5 p.m. While you're at work, when you have a break, you're not just eating and having fun with your coworkers. You're probably average at best anyway. But you could be Googling, researching, ChatGPTing, how can I become better? How can I get richer? How can I improve myself? You get off at 5 p.m., you maybe take a quick nap if you have to, then it's 6 p.m., you're back to working at your side hustle, you're seeing what can I improve, how can I make more money, you're actually trying to build your business. Then let's say it's 9 p.m., let's say you don't have a girlfriend, you go out real quick, up cold approach some girls just to build that, get home, then it's like, 11, and then you go to sleep. And that alone, that discipline alone would put you ahead of 99% of individuals on this planet. But people won't even do that.
Yeah.
Which is because they don't have brutal self-accountability and they don't even have this mindset of, I can become better. And I was gonna ask you, how do you think you developed that? Do you think that was internal? Do you think that came out of somewhere, or?
It comes from trauma, you know what I mean? So me, the moment I woke up and I was me, was the moment my dad passed away. You know, I started analyzing everything. My first question was why?
Yeah.
You know, that's the birth to my curiosity. I went, why, if there is a God, why would he do this?
Yeah.
Why did my superhero pass away? Why is this fair? How is this fair? How did this happen?
Yeah.
And it's self-analyzation. That's the missing piece that you're explaining that most people don't have.
Yeah.
Thinking, most people think that everybody thinks. No. Mental activity doesn't constitute thinking. Most people don't think. They just go to work, they get food, they come home, they go back to work, they get food, they come home, and they live their entire life like that, and it's just conformity. You know, that's the opposite of success. They think the opposite of success is, and courage is cowardice, is conformity.
Yeah.
It's doing what everybody else does. You know, why'd you go to college? Everybody else does. Why'd you get a job? Everybody else does. I like that statistic that you gave about, you know, 1 out of 1,000 people makes $1 million a year, which is one person out of your high school, and the 10,000 people, one person here makes $10 million a year, which is the whole school district. Bro, that tells you that school itself isn't the recipe for becoming rich and successful.
Yeah, school is trash when it comes to that. Absolutely. And the funny thing is, I'm the perfect poster boy, right? Because I had great grades in high school. I graduated. I literally got a academic scholarship, went to the U.S., went to college, had fantastic grades there, and I did everything the right way. But I'm a little bit of an exception because when people ask me, hey, Prince, should I go to school? I'll tell them, like anything else in life. So the way it works like this: brutal self-accountability implies that you're analyzing your life. When you analyze your life, you always got to see what are the benefits and what are the cons of doing something. And when most people go to college, they don't even do that basic analysis. They don't say, what are my alternatives? What am I gonna do in school? How much money is it gonna make me? Am I gonna learn something that's interesting? Am I gonna be able to network? They don't do none of that. They're just like, well, I guess, you know, everyone else around me goes to school, so let me go to school too. Well, for me, it was different because I'm from Austria and I was an athlete. So in the US, it was better for me to be there because I could then train and still go to school. And on top of that, it was a new experience. I was in a different country, and I was gonna learn a new culture, and overall, I met very, very cool people. Now, that's the reason I went to college. So everyone needs to have a reason to do something. I remember you were telling me this in the gym. You were like, even when I meet people, there has to be at least a good reason for me to meet you, but not in a psychopath way, but even in just a basic value exchange way. It just has to be, when I meet this person, it has to be productive. When I do something, it has to be productive. And most people that go to college, they don't do it out of productivity. They do it out of laziness, out of conformity, because everyone around them is doing it. And even me, I went to college because I just wanted to prove a point. I don't even use my degree. I have a degree in math and information systems. I've never used it in my life. But I just wanted to prove a point during the end of my semester, I was thinking to myself, I can be in college, I can be a great student and an athlete, and I can build $1 million revenue business that makes 7 figures a year, all while in college. Nobody has an excuse to be lazy or to blame anything for anything. It's always you. You can improve, and not even school is gonna take away from that. Yeah, school is trash because it's not gonna teach you how to make money, but I still don't think it's an excuse for you to be lazy or for you to blame it, you know? So, yeah, I mean.
Yeah, you know, funniest thing, bro, to go off of that topic, bro, I sit down with ChatGPT a lot, like you mentioned.
Yeah, me too.
And this robot is smarter than humans now.
Yep.
And I go, there has to be some type of error with an IQ test. I'm like, how are there broke people that don't have anything they want that have high IQs? How does that make any type of sense? And I said, ChatGPT, shouldn't an IQ test be based off of results? And shouldn't the real measure of intelligence be you getting what you want out of life? And it was like, absolutely, that's human error.
Yep.
And I had straight A's my freshman year of high school. Why did I have straight A's though? Number one, I thought going to school and getting straight A's makes you successful. Number two, my mom told me at the end of the year when you have your report card, we get to go out to eat to Benihana. And that's the whole reason I wanted to get straight A's. After that, when I found out school didn't correlate to financial success, straight F's. Now, my teachers called me stupid. They said, what are you gonna do, Vincent? You know, you're dumb, and if you can't do this, you're gonna end up working at Taco Bell. And I looked at them stupid because I'm not even looking at them. I'm like, who manages them? The person that makes the most money in colleges is the college itself. That's who profits the most.
They're profiting bigly.
Exactly. So my mind goes all the way up the ladder. I feel like back to self-analyzation. You know, it's very important that you look at how the world and how these machines work. It's like, even when I was working a job, I'm like, how is the boss of this specific store sitting outside smoking a cigarette? I'm over here cleaning dirty dishes. And then somebody above him is fucking off in Thailand or whatever. And he owns that department. You know, you have to think higher and higher up.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's funny that you mentioned this. Yeah, the colleges are run like a business. They're profiting off of you. And most people are just unaware. That's really what it is. Most people are just completely unaware of what's happening around them. So I was just at the barbershop, and I was talking to this guy about why I live in Panama and why I do, you know, why I live my life the way I live it. And then I was asking him, like, look, you live in Miami, and how's it with you and the taxes and etc. And I'm just telling him, you don't have income tax here, blah, blah, blah. And he just didn't even understand what I was saying. And he told me, no, yeah, I pay income tax too, and federal tax. And in my mind, I'm thinking, no, you don't pay income tax in Florida, in the state. But he didn't know that. And I'm just thinking to myself, how stupid do you have to be that you don't even know that you don't have income tax here in Miami? So probably the way it works, he's at his job, he gets his his salary, and I think the way it works is you just have the deductions automatic, etc. And he doesn't even analyze that. He doesn't have the bare consciousness to look at the money he's making and to analyze, why am I receiving less than what I actually worked for? Where is the money going? Who gets it? How does money work? How do all these big institutions work? Why am I a cog in the machine? Why do I allow this to happen? It's one thing to allow an enemy to subdue you and to get crushed, but you know exactly what's happening, but you can't fight back. And then there's the other thing where you don't even know an enemy is crushing you. And that's the way I believe most people live their lives. They live their lives barely sentient. They're just walking around they're almost operating under a script, under an automatic script. They're just doing everything similarly to how everyone else does it. They're not really conscious. They don't pay attention to what's happening around them. They don't know why they're in this situation. They know they want to change it, but they don't know how to go about it because they never think about it. And then they just got crushed. So I just thought it was mind-blowing. People will not even think about why they're in a specific situation, even if they don't like the specific situation they're in. Because he was telling me, oh yeah, I like to be free and I like to not be a cog in a machine. And I'm just thinking to myself, how do you not want to be in a cog in a machine and you don't even know that there's no income tax in Florida? It's just that little detail. It just triggered me. But I was just, just like, whatever, finish the haircut. I'm good. I'm out of here.
So that's funny, bro. I want to give you a good analogy, bro. Think of it like an anthill, though.
Yeah.
You know, the biggest population is worker ants.
Yeah.
There might be one queen ant. You know, there might be a king ant. There's little managers in between. But I think to some degree it might be genetic. You know, like those people are very important because they make the world go around, and the worker ants, they mindlessly work. Yeah. But, you know, at the same time, maybe we were given consciousness because we're meant to manage these people. And that's where I found the main resource in those people is. I'm like, some people want to sit down and just fucking work endlessly until they die.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm going to take advantage of that. I'm not going to take advantage in a way where I'm not going to pay you enough. No. Yeah. But I'm going to let you live the life that you want to some degree. You know, you get to go out to eat every single day. You get to do this. You get to do that. And you get the work done. You know what I mean? So like, it's interesting. Yeah, it's very interesting.
I mean, yeah, most people live in slavery nowadays. But it's not slavery in the common sense where you're forced to work a field, and if you don't do it, then you get beaten. No, it's just different. It's just you are essentially forced to work every day, even though you don't really want to. You're forced to live your life in a confined space, in a confined lifestyle. You trade your freedom in for safety, and they don't even give you the tools to think outside the box. Like you said in school, they don't teach you finances. They don't teach you how taxes work. They don't teach you about business. They don't teach you. Honestly, what would be interesting if they just had a class. Why don't they have a class in high school and the class is named critical thinking? Because I think that alone is a skill. I was just looking at a few people that I respect, such as, and he just died, but his name is Charlie Munger. He was a business partner of Warren Buffett. And he had this very interesting way of thinking. I don't know if you've heard it, but it's called inversion. So when you don't know what to do in life, or when you don't know where you want to go or how to achieve X thing, just think about what you don't want to do, or how X thing that you're trying to do will totally fail and 100% fail. And I think that's just such a simplistic but genius way to look at things. In my business, what are the things I should definitely not be doing in order to get crushed? And then I just take the inverse of it, and I do that because that's going to lead to success. And those are just key ways to be able to critically think. Or even small things that people have confirmation bias, that people think or see what they believe or what's in their vicinity. If they think something might go this way, then you have confirmation bias, and then you just act towards a certain thing. Or Elon Musk does it all the time, first principles thinking. How do you break down something to the most simplistic form in order to be successful in it? Let's say business. Business is money in versus money out. How do you get the money in? You find a client. How do you find the client? You do marketing. How do you do? And you just break it down to its most simplistic form, and then you take action on that. And most people probably don't even know what's inversion, what's first principles thinking, what's confirmation bias. They don't know what are mental models. They don't know any of that. And the most hilarious thing about this, most people, even if we told them, they just like glance over it. They're like, nah, I'm good. I'm good eating my tacos here and work my job, my 9 to 5. And yeah, maybe to some extent they do deserve it.
Yeah.
To some extent they actually do deserve it.
Yeah, I like how you said first it's analyzation and then it's action. The middle ground between that is why 99% of people aren't successful. They overanalyze, and there's a very good quote that an ounce of action is worth more than a pound of theory. Yeah. So I was very intelligent growing up, but I wouldn't take any type of action because I'd overanalyze. I'd go, if I do this, this happens. Then if I do that, that happens. Then if I do that, that happens. And then there'd be a middle ground of lag. Yeah. And you could call that anxiety. You could call it doubts, fear, whatever you want to call it. That middle ground in between is what stops most people. And the more conscious you get at the game of life, the more competent you become. You learn how to take action quicker when something makes sense or it doesn't. You weigh out the risk to the reward, and then you act. That's what every single successful person is able to do, because at a higher level, you're making more and more decisions every single day. Yeah. I get people underneath my ladder, Vince, I have it as this or that, do this or that, do that, this or that, do that. A broke person can't even decide what to order from Chick-fil-A. It's like, I don't know if I fucking want.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're moving too slow. You know what I mean? Like, if you guys want to become successful fast, there is a speed aspect too, where I'll come to some people and I'm mentoring them and they'll go, well, I just like to take my time with things and I'm a slow learner. Then you shouldn't want to be rich, bro. You shouldn't want to be rich at all.
But you see, that's the funny thing, because you told me that you just mentioned that maybe it's genetic, maybe they're just people that are meant to be in 9 to 5. But the way I see it is, at least be the best version of, I guess, your 9 to 5 version, or just be the best version of yourself. Because even in that regard, when you ask a female, she will never tell you, yeah, I like a man that's indecisive. I like a man that stares at a menu and doesn't know what he wants to order. If I'm on a date, I'm choosing for the girl. I had this one time. I got the menu, and then I didn't even look at it. I was just like, 2 margaritas. And then she looked at me like, why did you order for me? I'm like, oh, sorry, I thought you'd like it. You don't like it? She's like, no, I like it. I'm like, so why are you mentioning then why I'm ordering for you? She's like, no, I just wanted to ask. I've never seen that before. And this chick was like, 21, 22? I don't even know. But she's never had a guy be decisive and just order for her. And it was just instinctive for me. And every man should at least be decisive about his life. That's what I'm saying. If you're at least getting crushed by the enemy, at least know it, be decisive about it. Just think to yourself, well, at least I'm gonna be the best version, or rise to the highest degree of wherever place I'm in. That could be you being at a job and you just doing the job way better than everyone else, and that's why you get a raise. Or you get to the next job or another job. I never understood, why would you be in a job that you hate? At least be in a job that you like, that you semi-like, where it's somehow good for you. The fact that you're just lazy and chilling at a job. If I was in the job, every single day, I'll be plotting my way out. I'll be talking to the boss, to the manager, yo, I'm here, etc. But I'd already be plotting my way out. And another thing that I love that you said, by the way, is the action versus the analysis. Because what's more important is the action. Because you told me the only reason you started analyzing your life is because you had this huge trauma, right, with your father. And that prompted you to start analyzing. And I love this, because what's more important than the analysis is the action. The only reason you even get to analyze is because you took an action. And first you take the action, then you will most likely fail. That's another thing we can talk about. Failure and how to get over that, how to keep going. You fail, but so there's 2 ways to approach failure. You sit there, you fail, and you don't take accountability, and you think to yourself, well, I failed, I'm meant to fail, I'm done. Or you just don't accept the failure. You just think to yourself, I'm just not gonna accept this. This is not who I am. I'm not gonna tolerate this fail. I'm not gonna tolerate no from the universe. I am better than that. It almost involves a massive amount of ego, where something crazy or shit is gonna happen to you and you just refuse. You just, no, I refuse. I don't accept this. And then you analyze, how can I get out of this? And then you actually do at some point. And then you take the next action, then you do an analysis, and then the next action and an analysis. I'm pretty sure that's how you approach things too, right?
Yeah, bro, and I think that pretty much summarizes the statistic you made on school and the high school and who becomes successful, because in school you study, then you have the test. In life you're tested and then you study.
Yeah.
So the reason that you see a lot of successful people online that they appear to be stupid. Like, I don't even want to call out names, but like there's a lot of people online, you're like, how the fuck did they get rich? They were so stupid that they didn't analyze, and they took enough action to where they became successful. You know what I mean? So like it goes back to the same point, bro. A lot of people overanalyze. They think too long. Like, bro, back to what you said about the restaurant thing. Bro, one thing I was able to unlock within the past, like this is like the past 2-3 months.
Yeah.
Is I can go to a restaurant with 5 people and I can say, bring out what you recommend course by course. Cause I don't want everybody to sit down and look at the menus. It's like when you're try-harding life, when you make life your game, you want the speed to be a little bit quicker. Bro, my girl will piss me off sometimes. Then I'll be like, okay, she's my girl. I'll make the decisions, etc. But when a full-grown man can't make the decision, I get pissed off, bro. When a full-grown man comes to me, he's like, Vincent, I'm freaking out. I'm like, you're not a woman. You're a man. You need to make a decision. You need to analyze what's going on. You need to analyze the next best move.
Yeah.
And, the middle ground that we talked about that keeps people in that state of failure is anxiety. Anxiety is knowing that you can take action over something, but maybe you overanalyze and then you don't. So like,
So how do you deal with people then let's say you're mentoring them. You know, you mentored me when it came to sales. We're gonna talk about that. But let's say someone's just slacking, and you can just see the sloth, the slowness, and it just almost, you want to get mad at it, but then you just think to yourself, Vince, just chill, you know? Or maybe that's what you think. But how do you deal with that, and how do you get people out of that?
I mean,
or
bro,
do you even care?
Bro, you're speaking to somebody that's taken thousands of people and given them the exact same blueprint and analyzed the people who were successful and the people who weren't. And it's that exactly. It's sloth. They move too slow. So at first, I'd want to be nice. You know, early on in consulting, mentorship, coaching, I'd be like, okay, bro, you know, we'll take our time, et cetera. Now I'm like, hey, bro, listen, if you want to be successful, bro, you cannot move this slow. It's absolutely not going to happen because there's other people you're competing against that think quicker as well. And I don't even like to use the planet competition because I believe there's enough abundance for everybody. But if you're moving at a speed to where I just want to make sure I have it perfect and et cetera, the reason most people don't get started is because they look for perfection when they should be looking for progression, which eventually leads to perfection. Like you said, you have to fail, self-analyze, get better. Fail, self-analyze, get better. Every single winner has lost 1,000 times more than losers have lost. They're just so used to it, and it becomes normal. You know?
Exactly. And yeah, it's interesting that you say that because at the end of the day, everyone is competition. But there is still enough abundance for everyone to be competition, but for you to still have a lot of things and your friends and everyone else to have a lot of things. You know, if I buy an SVJ, that doesn't make you lose your SVJ, for example. Or I would rather me and you have a Bugatti than thinking, oh, you know, crabs in the bucket mentality. That's not, life is abundant, but you have to be competitive. And you can even be competitive with your friends. That's not a weird thing, or people will say that's weird about me. Maybe they'll also say that about you. They'll just be thinking, well, why do you approach everything so competitively? Like, just chill, Prince, all right? It's not a competition, bro. And no, I think everything is a competition. But that doesn't, it's not negative, it's positive. If me and you line up for a race, of course I'm trying to destroy you in that race. It doesn't matter for friends or anything, but I'm still trying to win. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't want you to win. If anything, I want you to win too, because now that's gonna inspire me to win even harder. Those are the best friendships almost, I believe, where one guy levels up and then one guy's here and then that guy's like, fuck, I need to level up too. And then he levels up like this, and then this guy's like, fuck, I need to level up too. And it's just like you guys are just leveling up together. And no, that's absolutely a beautiful thing. And like you said, the sloth is what kills people. Just the slowness. And I believe what it is really at its core is comfort. I think comfort is the thing that kills most people. And everyone has it to some degree. Even me. I'm comfortable in my position to the sense where it doesn't stress me out at night that I don't have $100 million yacht. It's not something I think about immediately, but if it was actually stressing me out, I had a stress response to it that was significant. And it can be significant in different ways. You can have a stress response to the point where you get nightmares. Let's say you had a nightmare where Jeff Bezos is laughing at you, saying, "Ha ha, you're a fucking brokey. You only have one Ferrari, or you only have this." It can get to that level, and now it's pushing you, and you gotta not want to be in that position anymore. It's like sleeping on a bed with needles on it. You will have to move, and most people are just not motivated to move, I believe. It's just the way you surround yourself with the people. That's the worst. The friends you're with, they're average. At best, they don't really do anything with their lives. You guys are smoking, you know, doing weed, all kinds of trash. And you're just in an environment that doesn't really push you to become a better version of yourself.
Yeah, I like that, bro. I like that. You know, it's funny because a lot of people online, too, will see my posts and they'll say he's insecure.
Yeah.
Of course. Absolutely. I grew up. I was the kid that took the city bus. I got laughed at by the kids that had nice Mercedes. Of course. And I took that insecurity and I created the best life possible.
Yeah.
You know, they'll say, well, the beauty about me is, you know, I don't need to show what I have. I don't need to flex. Well, I like to drop my nuts because other people dropped their nuts on me when I was at the bottom. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it is competition to some degree, where the best thing I ever did, back to the analogy of getting around other winners and it propelling you, was moving to a city where there's a lot of winners.
Yep.
Me moving to Miami, 100% upgraded times 10,
Yep.
you know, the amount of money I would be making, because I'm not going to give any type of names.
Yep.
But I have had people that were multimillionaires that have gone, How much have you fucking made when I was 19?
Really?
But I'm so competitive that I went bet. I'm gonna fucking pass that dude.
Okay.
And if they didn't tell me that, would I have that same drive? Probably not, bro. I'll sit outside my penthouse on the balcony. I look at $100 million yachts, and I'll hear the people in the building as I'm going down the elevator. Did you hear, the Walton family's yachts parked there, the telegram on? And I get furious, bro. I get absolutely pissed off. I'm like, how the fuck does he have a $250 million yacht?
Yeah.
And I don't, I don't think about excuses either. I don't think about time. I don't think about opportunity. I don't exclude myself as to why I can't. I only think of reasons why I can. And that's what keeps me growing. Back to what you said, bro, the key performance indicator isn't even happiness here. It's fulfillment. And the only time you feel fulfilled as a man is if you're giving your all and working on something. You know what I mean?
That's the funny thing. Fulfillment is a great word, because recently I was, as usual, self-analyzing. And I was thinking to myself, Prince, would you describe yourself as a happy individual? And then I said, at least most of the time, no, because I'm either stressing or I'm trying to be better, or I don't even have the ability to just relax and watch a movie. Yeah. I'll be with my girl and she'll say, let's watch a movie. And in the past, I was able to do it when I was 15 or whatever, but I lost the ability to relax for 2 hours. I can't even do that. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking to myself, if I was talking to some psychoanalyst, he would probably find some issue there. But still, what I've seen is if you go through all that stress and then you actually achieve that one goal and you win, that fulfillment you get makes it all worth it again. Mm-hmm. Just that one win, and you can even stack small wins. But the win, even though it might be momentarily or it might not be there all the time, once you actually hit that win, it makes it all worth it. And then you just have this general fulfillment about you. And you can decide at which point you want to stop. I want to be a billionaire or a multi-billionaire, or you want maybe just $100 million in your bank account. But at the end of the day, you will have fulfillment if you set yourself a goal, you work hard to achieve that goal, and then you make it. And then especially if you start helping other people achieve that same goal. That's why I love what you said, that seeing that family made you furious. It infuriated you. And sometimes I do that with people. So that's where a lot of people will call me a psychopath. But I literally sit there and I'll analyze a person that I want to motivate. And I'll just see what's the weak link. Mm-hmm. How can I tell him something where he is going to feel like shit? And then I'll just tee off on that person. You're fat, you're disgusting. I don't even know how women look at you. And I'll say that to people. I'll just go berserk on them, and they never like it. In fact, I've even heard people, they'll be like, Prince, you're scum that you told me that. But at the end of the day, they always thank me at the end. Yeah. Because they outgrow the past version of themselves. Because you have to be uncomfortable, and you have to have this force, this outside force that infuriates you, that wants you to push to the next level. Every man needs that. 100%.
Pretty much on that same topic, bro, I want to add this in, bro, because there's a lot of guys out there. You mentioned the women aspect. A lot of dudes are looking for a woman to conquer with, when that's a man's natural ability. It's not really a woman. So I always had this ideology. I want to find the right girl, and I want to build our empire together, and etc. But that's not really how it works. I have the right girl now. I just bought my girl a Lamborghini Urus, right? And people see that on paper, but what they don't see behind the scenes is, I'm like, not right now. No, I'm working. Not right now. Can we go to no, not right now. You have the morning, you have at night. When I have free time in between that, cool. And my girl understands that I'm moving at a certain speed, and if I have to slow down and explain everything to her and sit down and relax and take my time, I'm not going to be the fullest me. And as a byproduct of that self-hate of me not being my fullest me, I'm going to despise my girl. So she understands, as much as it may anger her in the moment, she understands, okay, I have a man that's building something, and I'm going to sit on the sidelines and kind of watch and support and cheer him on. That's the number one thing that I've found fulfillment with, is that relationship aspect. But a lot of dudes, I see them, they'll be with their girl, like holding hands, skipping through fucking fields and shit. And that's okay if your life purpose isn't conquering. If your life purpose is to conquer, though, you got to be all gas, no brakes. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's like, hey, get in the fucking back seat. I'm going to fucking rip this Lambo. And you're not going to, can we get gas? Can we get, no, fuck no, I'm fucking working. You know what I mean?
Well, that's another thing. Females is a huge aspect when it comes to men. And I've seen a lot of guys throw away their lives or get completely crushed by that feminine energy overtaking them. The thing with females is they'll tell you one thing and they might want it, but it's not what they need. So females need a guy that can conquer shit. If a female could choose between a peasant and a king, no female on earth in existence will say, I'd rather go with the peasant. She'd rather go with the king. Now, it's also a balancing act. You don't have to be rude or crass to your female or disrespect her to the point where you don't take into accountability maybe the way she feels about something, especially if she supports you. But the absolute no-go, is putting a woman's feelings over your purpose and desire to conquer. That is what I've seen. That I've seen is what crushes a lot of men. They'll be in a relationship. They'll coddle up to the female. She'll have her whims. She'll have her feelings. Oh, but you don't spend enough time with me, or you don't do this. So now you're slowing down your speed instead of just having a female that's going to rise up to the occasion and meet you there. And that's why I believe most females, they have a hard time keeping a high value guy, because you just don't have the maturity or even the winning energy to accommodate a winner. You just have to be the type of female. You have to accept, the greater your man is, the more busy he'll be. And Alex Hormozi says that. If you want the best friends, you have to accept that they're busy. I can't just roll up to Vincent and be like, yo, let's hang out 3 hours every single day while I'm here in Miami.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna say it because I know if he's anything like anyone else or like me, he has shit to do. We gotta do something productive, something that moves us forward, and that's it. And it's with anything else in life. You have to accept the good with the bad, quote unquote bad. But yeah, if you're a female, that's advice I have for you.
Yeah.
You have to understand your man. And if he's a man that is out there to conquer and you can genuinely see that he cares about you, you have to cut him some slack, because you can't expect that he's gonna go out there and conquer the world, but at the same time, he's out there or he's at home watching movies with you 6 hours a day. It's literally impossible.
Yeah, bro. And you know, when I bought my girl that car, you know, me and my girl are the same. I like fucking flexing. She likes flexing. She pops the Lambo sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm like, but I didn't just get you this car to flex. I gave you this car so you could be a role model to young women about the behind the scenes of how this really works.
Yeah.
You know, there's no man in the world that's on a mission to build $1 billion empire that's going to have time to even care about, well, it's how you say it in the moment. And this, my mom will send me stuff too. My mom talk.
Yeah, really.
My mom, you know, the beauty of a man isn't just financial provision, it's emotional security. And I'm like, Mom, that's not where we're tired you. And I don't have time to even think about that.
Yeah.
And I gave my girl the choice. If you want a normal dude that you go to the movies with 2 hours a day, that you go to dinner with every single night, that you fucking cuddle and fucking cross toes, whatever the fuck you do, you know what I mean? That man isn't going to come with the life that you have now, unless it was inherited or something like that. You know what I mean? And I gave her that choice early on. I said, hey, listen, I'm never going to change.
Yeah.
Like I'm a big believer in honesty.
Yeah.
I said, I'm absolutely never going to change. There's men like me that don't have an off switch. I know, you know, right now, you know, we're doing close to 8 figures a year. I'm like, when it gets to 9 figures, it's going to be the same exact thing. I'm never going to have time. I'm never going to have fulfillment in doing little activities and experiences.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, maybe like once a week or so, we go to dinner when I have a good day and you're going to have a lot of free time. This is what your life is going to entail. And she made that decision and she said, hey, listen, you know, I understand that. That's what I'm attracted to as well. Like, women are designed to fit in with that too. Like the right woman is designed to be a convenience to your life.
Yep.
You don't want an inconvenience that's just demanding too much stuff and you need to be a little bit softer and this is that. But what people get confused is, like you said, women have something called a shit test. Every single female in every single species is going to test the leadership of her man and see if she can sway his word and his decision making. Yep. Don't go to the gym now. No, I'm going to the gym. Yeah, you can skip one meeting. No, I'm staying on this meeting. It's not that my girl's intention is to distract me. It's that she subconsciously wants to see, is he still a fit leader?
Yep.
Can I sway his word at all? And when it can't be swayed, the attraction is at an all-time high. So I had a past mentor, bro, who fell out with his wife or something. He's like on the phone, like, please come back, please. I'm like, put the fucking phone down now. I'm like, put the goddamn phone down, bro. I'm like, you're not gonna fix your marriage fucking begging your wife to come back because you cheated. That's not gonna fucking happen. I'm like, you're gonna fix this shit by being a man and putting your foot down and saying, hey, listen, you have two options. You're with your parents right now. Option number one, I'm gonna get you a flight here tomorrow at 12. Option number two, I won't get you that flight and we'll end it here. We'll call it a day. If you want to work this out, you can get on that flight, and I'm super happy to do that. If you don't want to, cool. It's called pulling back. It's called dropping. It's called putting your foot down or dropping your nuts. You know what I mean? I'm like, bro, at the end of the day, there's two ways this ends with you begging, bro. Number one, you know, you just annoy her so much that she just eventually blocks you. Number two, you're sitting there begging her, and she loses complete attraction where you're begging her while she's fucking another dude. And I'm like, this is how the shit is laid out. Now, bro, funniest thing, Prince, is I'm not giving this advice from somebody that's fucked thousands of women or anything like that. I actually have a very clean sexual past, but I was given wisdom by God, where I didn't need to do any of those things. I don't know if I conquered that in a past life or what, but my whole goal in this lifetime is absolute competence and reaching my maximum capability. And, you know, I could play that game. I feel like so many men have a choice. Some men dedicate their entire lives to seeing how many hoes they can fuck. Some men dedicate their lives to seeing what they can build. You know, it's easy to fuck hoes that have fucked 10 other dudes. The hard part is telling your mother, hey, you don't have to work anymore.
Yeah.
You know, so that was my mission up front. You know, how do you view that whole aspect?
Well, I have to agree with a lot of things you say. And even on some topics, I know we have some differences, quote unquote. For example, that's what I asked you earlier. How do you do it that you're just with one girl? Mm-hmm. Because I have a lot of friends and they have one main chick and 8 girlfriends. And you even said that former mentor, that he had a wife, but he was cheating on her. And just to that aspect, every man has to be decisive about his life. Mm-hmm. You have to picture it like this. Let's say you start a war. You can't just start a war and you just pull out in the middle of it. Even if you start a war unfairly. Let's say you're the United States and you attack China, which is probably the worst mistake you'll ever do. But then in the middle of it, you're like, fuck, I think we made a mistake. Shit, no, I'm sorry. No, bro, you have to finish the war. And that's where a lot of guys fuck up with females. So let's take the cheating aspect. First of all, you have to be upfront about it. You have to say, this is who I am, this is what I'm gonna do. It could be good, it could be bad, but that's what you decided to do. Now, if a woman leaves you for cheating, you can't just start begging her back, because what women have is they have a certain thing called respect for you. Mm-hmm. And I've seen that with females, once they lose that respect for you, you're basically cooked. So as a man, you have to become accustomed to dropping your nuts, which is gonna be a daily game almost you play with your female, depending on whatever happens. It's just, you know, a female will test you. What females do essentially, they'll see you as a man and they'll see your capability and they'll want to test it out. And they'll just be like, okay, how many hours can I watch a movie with him? How much can I complain until he gives in? How much can I be in a bad mood, etc., until he just gives me what I want? But at some point, the only power you truly have as a man, the only true test of masculinity, is your ability to walk away and your ability to say, if you keep doing this, then I'm out of the window. Mm-hmm. And just literally, I love the way he said that, dropping your nuts. Yeah. So even with the guy where he said, you know, with the cheating, at the end of the day, you can just be like, well, I cheated and that's it. I know you're mad about it, but it happened. And that's it. If you want to leave, then leave. And if she leaves, you never contact her again until she contacts you. Yeah. But if you start begging, that is where you get completely crushed.
Exactly.
Now, with the aspect of you saying you had a clean sexual past, I love that, because I was actually asking about that, right? Because I would say my past is not so clean. I mean, I've fucked a ridiculous amount of hoes, but what I would say, what I've always done very well, at least the wisdom I had from the get-go, is you cannot let hoes distract you from your main mission. Mm-hmm. And that is not a pitfall that I've seen with a lot of men. They will not have the ability to say no, and they will be so obsessed with hoes that they'll put hoes in front of the work. They'll have the option between, I could just work in today and just do my work and train and do everything I'm supposed to do, or I could go on a date. But then ask yourself, why are you going on a date with her? What is she really adding to your life? Is there anything productive that's happening? Are you having children with her? Are you running a business with her? Is she loyal to the point where if the cops break in and they're interrogating her that she's not gonna turn on you? I literally told this to my girl. I was like, yo, I really only see 3 ways you can add to my life. You're loyal to the point where no matter what happens, you will always stick by me. Literally, even if the police got me for whatever reason, and then they're interrogating you, and they're like, well, ma'am, we just want to inform you, Prince was not loyal. He cheated on you every single day. He has a secret family. He was committing all kinds of crimes. You might as well just turn him out. But let's say they're lying. And her still being like, no, I believe in my man. I'm not going to do it. That's valuable. Her helping you with your business. And for example, the way you're doing it with your girl, I love it because your girl is almost a poster girl for the type of man you are. She's a reflection of you. The fact that you bought a Lamborghini just shows the world that you have the capability to buy her one. And, she's always in your videos and reels. People see the great relationship you have, and it's an inspiration to other men. So she's valuable to your business. Or let's say you're having children with her. She's the mother of your children. Those are valuable things that a female can provide to you. But man, you have to know, if a female is not doing any of it, she's essentially worthless to you. Yeah. She's almost a play toy. But now you have to ask yourself, if she's just a play toy, what are you getting out of it? That's the exact same energy as just going to the club and popping bottles, but you're just going broke and you're doing nothing and your life is failing. That's the same thing as just hanging around and chilling. That's the same thing as just eating ice cream.
Exactly.
So why are you doing it? I guess you can do it a little bit to scratch the itch, but any amount that you overdo it, and trust me, the more bitches you fuck, the less money you'll make. I promise you that.
100%.
The most money you'll make is either if you're single or if you have one girl that is actually in your corner and that supports you. So all the rich guys are married for some reason. And yeah, I absolutely believe in that. Even though I guess we have lived a little bit of different lives when it comes to females, we all converge still to the same spot where we're like, we can't let females be a distraction. They have to be an asset.
Exactly, yeah. And I think it goes back to the school analogy. You know what I mean? I told you I had straight A's freshman year.
Yeah.
And after that straight F's, when I realized this no longer serves the purpose of my mission. Mm-hmm. Same thing with hoes. Fuck 1, 2 hoes. I was like, okay, I see where this is going. There's absolutely no fulfillment here. I don't need 300 more experiences. Yeah. Like you said, I'm going to add the meaning to it. I'm going to get a girl that would be happy to have my kids, happy to support me 24/7, would be a convenience to my life where I wake up, there's coffee made, the laundry's done, everything's folded. That's when it's a benefit. You know what I mean? And that's when there's value to it. And there's nothing against the other side too, you know what I mean? But it doesn't lead to productivity most of the time.
Yep.
That's the main disconnecting factor, where even now, bro, I have back-to-back meetings. I was just telling him, where I don't even have time for one girl. So if my sole fulfillment comes from working, and I already have one girl where I'm like, leave me alone.
Yeah.
What makes you think I'm gonna go to the club and have time to fuck other hoes? So that creates the analogy where if you have time to do that, you know that you're not at your maximum capability. Even Tate said it. Tate was like, of course, I've messed with plenty of girls, but I wonder where I'd be at if I just had one. And I thought about it, I was like, that's a good analogy as well. And one thing I've seen too is the only downfall of modern day men, and we talked in the gym about this, is, having too many sexual partners a lot of the time, bro. I've had friends that have had STDs and fucked their whole lives up. I've had friends who a girl will lie on their name. You see even online with Tate, some girl they fucked 10 years ago comes back. Now they have 21 UK court cases. There's just not many women that could do that to me. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's my best asset, to where I'll tell my younger guys like Flynn, why are you fucking girls and then arguing and blocking them? You say you want to be the fucking president. You realize that's the end of your campaign right there. I'm like, bro, fix the fucking relationship and say, hey, it's unfortunate we didn't work. I'm like, don't slam doors.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in that as well, and I'm a big believer in just keeping relationships pure. And one thing I want to mention too, everybody has different preferences. If you tell a girl, hey, I'm not the traditional sense of loyal and I'm going to be sleeping around with other girls, and she agrees to that, that's not cheating. That's not cheating. That's something that you agreed to with that girl.
Yeah, exactly.
Cheating is saying that, hey, I'm going to be
Lying.
completely loyal to you, and then going and fucking other girls. That's when it gets into gray territory where you're going against your word as a man, which is the most important thing.
Which is also one reason why women lose respect for you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because trust me, guys, you're better off. Let's say you're in a relationship, committed, everything's fine, everything's beautiful, honeymoon phase, and then she catches you cheating or sees a text. You're better off just saying, you know what, yeah, I cheated on you. I fucked this girl last week, and it is what it is. I'm not gonna do it again, or I don't wanna be controlled, and I might do it more often. But you're better off just admitting it. The chances of her staying with you, if you admit it, trust me, I know this sounds ridiculous, are literally 100%. All cases that I've seen where the girl will leave the guy because of quote unquote cheating is because the guy was a weasel about it.
Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't mean no. I made the choice.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I did. It is what it is. And trust me, that respect that the woman still will have for you will override the cheating. Now, I'm not saying that you should do it. I'm not condoning it. If anything, I do believe, and even now after talking to you, I am starting to maybe go back to this purely monogamous type thing where I'm gonna focus only on my goals and maybe have one chick, and it is what it is. But at the end of the day, you have to always stick to your word. You have to be the man that you say you are, and you can't have all these hoes distract you. You can't enter relationships where there's no real value exchange, where the girl is not offering anything. Even worse, where you paying for dates, etc. You don't even know if she's loyal. She's not even really doing anything for you.
Yeah,
she's not really that supportive. No, that's trash, because in 10 years, that female will be gone. She'll be older, and I guess, if I'm allowed to say that, politically correct, but yeah, she'll have a lesser value than she had when she was 22. She will not have given you anything. She will not have children with you. She will not have ever helped you make more money. She will not ever have been a real convenience to you. It's just a value drain. And now you're 40 or 50, you fucked all these hoes, and you're not even rich? I mean, look, if you're rich and you fucking hoes, okay. But if you're not rich and you fucking hoes, gee, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Spend the money spend the money on your business. Spend the time to become richer.
Yeah, bro. Funny as shit, bro. I saw this firsthand. They say a smart person, a normal person learns from their own mistakes. A smart person learns from mistakes of others. I'd watch my brothers while I'm on a mattress on the floor bring in absolute fucking sevens, sometimes whales, sometimes fucking just skunk trash, and fucking drinking Hennessy and smoking weed, and I'm on the mattress. I can't avoid this shit. I'm just like, holy fuck. Why are you fucking these disgusting ass creatures? I've always been a bougie ass person where I was like, when I do get a girl, it's gonna be something respectable. It's gonna be something that hasn't had a crazy ass sexual past.
Yep.
It's gonna be honorable. It's gonna be something you don't see even when you walk around the mall. And I feel like that's your main strength as a man is I feel like having one quality woman is better than fucking, 50 trashy hoes. Because here's the thing, bro. The security you have as a man, where number one, your girl would fucking go to fucking jail and keep her mouth shut for you, right?
Yep.
Number two, she's extremely loyal to you. Number three, has zero desire to even think about going to a club or thinking about going to a restaurant when the sun is down. Number four, when a man even comes up and says something, because when you have attractive girl, dudes are gonna come up. My girl, blind, dumb, and fucking deaf. I get texts. Bro, I just saw your girl literally like just walk past and like fucking ignore this dude. I'm like, of course, that's the only thing I expect. Why? Because there's no other Vincent Fishers walking around.
Yep.
There's people richer than me. There's people in better shape than me. There's nobody that can show a woman over an extended period of time, never slipping up on your word once.
Yeah.
And when you do that, and time again, bro, your girl's gonna grow more and more respect for you to where she cannot live without you.
Exactly.
My girl could not live with it. She couldn't exist without me. I feel like the most beautiful thing.
Her.
Yeah, the most beautiful thing with women too, and them getting to be feminine again. Me taking my girl and saying, hey, stop working. You see the sparkle in their eyes glow over time. They become kids again.
Yep.
And you're just providing for them. And not even in the sense of relationships, in the sense of even I watched my mom become more feminine when I retired her. My mom was a fork in the sink and we need to be here at this time and this.
Yeah.
And now my mom's like, hey, Vincent, we just bought an RV and we went to Sedona.
Yeah.
And just thank you for taking such good care. That's the most fulfilling thing at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. One of the most fulfilling things is being able to literally provide for a female that deserves it. And I believe, so guys will obviously ask, Prince, how do you meet a girl like this? Vince, how do you meet a girl like this? The only way to get a girl like this is like with anything else in life. You need to have high standards for yourself and for everyone around you. That's the only way to do it. Because what's the reason why I look at hoes and I'm like, I'm good, I'll pass it up. I'll be, and the average guy will probably never experience this. I'll be in my bed and I get a text in the evening. I get a text from a very beautiful girl, like, oh, let's go this place, let's hang out. And I'm like, nah, I gotta train. I'm good. And I might even know that I'll never hear from this girl again because maybe I'm gonna bruise her ego. She's gonna be like, what the fuck, he rejected me, and I'll never hear from her again. But I'm good. I have shit to do because I'm having a high standard on the people around me and on myself. Now, another thing is the aspect of having high standards, let's say for your chick, if you're with her in a relationship, because I'm sure like you inspire your girl as well. You hold your word, you know you don't lie, you say and do you do what you say you're gonna do, and even for her, you say like you're gonna be a role model for these other girls, or I want you to work more on your physique. I want you to improve yourself. I want you to look like the best version of yourself. I don't want you to slack. You might, show her certain things about the world, teach her certain things about the world. Even if you travel with her, now she's seeing new places with you. Mm-hmm. And that inspires a girl, and that inspiration is also what adds the respect she has for you. And it's gonna start soul locking her because now she knows deep down no other man or very few men at this point, even on the planet, literally. I mean, we even talked about the 1 in 1,000 statistic, 1 in 10,000 statistic. Ask any girl, when's the last time you met a guy who never lied, who was, on his path, he was purpose-driven, he had high standards for me as well, he made me improve myself, he showed me new things, traveled to me to new places. She's gonna say 0. So if you're the guy that can do that for her and provide those things for her, you're gonna be 1 in a million. Or whatever number you want to put on it. And that's going to soul lock her because now she won't leave, and now you're going to have a loyal girl who does the things that you want her to do, and she supports you, and she respects you and looks up to you.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
And it's so easy in Miami to get distracted, bro. Like I had a Christian friend. Yeah. His name's Akil. He came to me when I'm going to fucking restaurants, messing with hoes and stuff like that. He's like, Vince, I want you to rethink what you're doing, bro. And you have an audience too. What are you pushing? And I'm like, nah, I'm a G. I'm with this girl that week. I'm with that girl. I took her in the Lambo, boom. But then I was like, something snapped, bro. And I woke up very early and I went to church, bro. And it talked about the message that you push to the youth. Yeah. And I cleaned everything up. Let me remove that skank asshole off my page. Let me remove this girl off my page. And I went back to a positive message. And in correlation to that, I made more money than I've ever made, bro. I always think back to the story of King Solomon. That's what he told me. He's like, as a man, when you have everything given to you, when you have access to everything, it can be self-destructive too. So to add to the point you were saying before, a normal beta male simp dude goes off of looks alone. Yep. The best looking girl that comes to me, boom, I'm gonna get with her. A G, we're not going off of fucking looks. You need to have the whole fucking 9 yards. You can't have too many past sexual partners. You have to look clean. You have to be respectful. All these things like directly correlate. So when a guy goes, bro, did you see this girl? She was bad. She was top level. She's done. She's cooked. Yeah. Ran through. This dude hit that dude. No. And I understand that not everything's perfect too. I'm not perfect. I'm not no fucking virgin or anything like never mess with it. So I stopped expecting that from a woman at the same time. I went, listen, if you have one past dude, you mess with 1, 2 dudes before, I'm cool with that.
1 or 2 is fine.
1 or 2, but when it gets to 5+, then we have problems. But if you had 1 or 2 dudes, you're willing to behave, and I'm the same exact way, cool. We can grow from there. And one thing you understand as a high value male as well is you understand that any past dude that you've messed with is not nearly at the capability of me. Yep. And the experience you're gonna have with me is gonna keep you in your place. You're gonna keep your word. Yep. So my girl, never respected any type of man that was semi-masculine when I met her. And she goes, no man's gonna tell me what to do, and this is that. Soon as I met her, over time, it was a back and forth, and then she became completely feminine and listened completely.
Well, she's also Russian. So
exactly.
I would almost say it's in her genetics.
She's Russian, it's in her genetics
Europe,
too.
yeah.
And you know, her mom told her before she met me, she's like, I think I might be lesbian because there's no dudes and whatever. And her mom said, one day you're gonna find a man that's gonna put you in your place and you're gonna be completely feminine. That man was me. You know, a G only comes once in a lifetime too, and the girl understands that. And she goes, oh shit, I need to be on my A game because this dude right here, girls have a sixth sense. They're around so many dudes, they get approached by so many dudes, they know the back of their hand who's real and who's fake. It's an energy type of thing, you know what I mean?
That's why a girl is a reflection of who you are.
Exactly, bro. And it comes down to the core concept of it's not just about what you do. It's not about some pickup line and you doing, it's about who the fuck you are. And if you're a man that stands on your word, is chasing one mission, is after his purpose, bro, a woman's gonna be madly in love with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then it gets easy to get girls like that. Easy in the sense of you won't get the trash hoes. They just won't stick to you because it's polarity. Likes attract each other. Also what you said about a girl being beautiful. The way I see it, and people always say, oh, men care about looks, that's the thing. I'm different, to be honest. I don't care. Obviously I care about looks, it has to be beautiful, but that's not the reason I'll be in a relationship with a girl. The inside has to be beautiful as well. She has got to be beautiful outside and on the inside. And if anything, you can have a 7, let's say, and you upgrade her to a 9. You have her make her hair. She goes to the gym religiously. You buy her certain outfits that you like, and you buy her perfume. She smells better. She looks better. She has a better attitude. But what matters for me is the inside, and even the inside that comes from self-discipline, being polite to other people, not having a crazy amount of a crazy body count. Because what truly is a high body count for a female? For a man, you just want to have fun. You just want to have sex. Okay, so it's not really that much of a measure of discipline out. It still is, but not as much for a female, because for a female, you have all the options in the world. For you now, the discipline is being able to see who has access to you. And if you're a girl that has a body count of 20, I'm sorry to tell you, but yeah, you're fucked. I mean, you're trash. Like, that's the same.
I mean, what you're saying is fact. If you want a 0.0001%er, and obviously there's outlying factors too. I'm sure there's some dudes that make way more money than us that would settle with, you know, some girl that has money. But that stuff does matter to the right dude, right? It just does.
Do you really think that if you're with a girl that has a 20, she didn't ever have the discipline to say no to an average dude? Didn't have the discipline to say no to an average dude. Do you think she's gonna have the discipline to build with you, to be on your side when it gets hard? She got fucked at a random party and put dick in her mouth, maybe even 2 at a time. That's not your girl, and you just gotta be able to see that. When I'm with girls, I can just feel that. I don't know why.
Oh, bro. Oh, fuck. I mean, fuck, bro. To add to that too, bro, I hate when I'm out, you know, at dinner or networking or some shit, and a dude just has like a loud ass white, hey, I'm like, fuck, like your girl's your status too. Exactly. I need my girl silent. We come in. Hey, you know,
that's one thing I noticed about your girl, yeah.
100%, bro.
She was like a statue almost, like, but I love that.
Bro,
I love that.
And same thing, you know, your girl as well, bro. Last podcast we did, bro, completely respectful, silent, you know, like that's what you need because it's a reflection of you at the end of the day. Yep. And it's very important as a man too, you tell your girl too, hey, you're a reflection of me. I'll tell my girl back and forth all the time because women love attention the same way men love attention. I love popping my nuts, fucking having the Lambo through Brickell and revving and shit.
Loud,
bro, it's loud as fuck, bro. And I like doing stuff like that. A girl at the same time too, she's gonna be naturally driven to use her looks to get attention from women mainly. And I'll tell my girl, I'm like, hey, listen, you know, I want you to think about that last post. And she, like, a girl's respect at the end of the day is, like you said, knowing that if you get disrespected too much, you're willing to walk away. And it never has to come to that point. I'll tell my girl, I'll say, hey, I want you to rethink that post that you made on your story. Yeah. Does it make you look like you were in a relationship? It's nothing. My girl doesn't post anything too bad. It is a little bit too much stuff showing. I want you to think about that and you make a decision. And she'll remove it. You know what I mean? Like, that's
Do you think she would do that if she had a body count of 30?
Absolutely not, bro. And she also wouldn't remove it even if she was a good girl. Let's say a girl's a virgin.
Yeah.
And a man tells her, hey, I need you to remove that post. If she doesn't respect the man, she's not going to remove the post.
Yeah, because she's going to be like, what do you got to do about it? That's what she's gonna think in her mind. What you gotta do about it? Well,
It's-
I'm sorry, I didn't mean it that way, but nah, you gotta be the guy. Oh, you don't want to remove it? Okay, yeah, all good. And then she's like, all right, and then she's not even hearing from you anymore.
Yeah.
You're not, and then she's like, hey, and then you just texting her forever. At all times, you got to be able to look at your girl, and no matter how much you love her and how much you care for her, and you can literally be deeply in love with a girl, almost to the point. And what is love? There's different versions of love, but the way that most people describe love and the feeling is almost like a drug. It's kind of like being hooked on a drug. And if you look at your girl, you're gonna feel happiness. You're gonna feel a variety of emotions. If it's a girl you love, and you gotta be able, as a man, to look at that and just be like, if this girl disrespects me too much, I'm willing to leave, even if I'm gonna have heartbreak, even if I'm gonna miss her for years, even if I'm gonna wake up in nightmares thinking about what could have been. No, my standards and my self-respect is more important than that. And I think that's what girls will truly respect about you. Because all guys can have money, all guys can, drag their nuts or whatever, but if you're willing to fight that battle within yourself, that even though you love her and even though she's done everything she can to lull you in and make you invest in all the things you bought for her, and you're like, oh, so you're not gonna remove that post where they can almost basically see your titties? And he's like, nope. All right, I'm out.
And
I'm good.
That's why it's so easy. It's very easy to get a very attractive girl because most men don't have that discipline.
Yeah.
Beauty has no purpose in my life if it doesn't serve me.
Yeah.
Let's take a hot Russian model girl. Any other dude, you say, hey, I need you to remove that post. Any other dude's gonna think, he's like, well, it's not that deep. I still get to talk to her and I get her attention and she's still in my life. And then that's a downward spiral of more and more disrespect to where your girl's walking all over you. So, it's one thing when a girl sees that and she goes, oh shit, this dude fucking stands on his word. That's when the attraction grows more and more and more. You know what I mean? Like that's the name of the game. But it's who you are. Like, I don't need a playbook. I don't need to fucking watch a red pill playbook to know what I like and don't like in a relationship. And my girl may even tell, well, other relationships and other people. I'm like, I don't care. I don't give a fuck about it. We were with Vincent Fisher. I don't give a fuck about what they do in their relationship, what that guy does in his. This is what I don't like, and you're not going to do that. And it doesn't have to be an argument. Like one person that I do respect in the way that he moves is Trump in 48 Laws of Power. The art of the deal, you got to be willing to walk away. Absolutely. You don't have to walk away with disrespect either. It's not like, take that post down. The only time you do that in a relationship is a strategy because women love excitement, drama, and emotion.
Yep.
I'm a very stoic dude. I'll pipe up on my girl. So she's in a penthouse all day bored. So sometimes I'm like, take that damn post down, because that's for her own entertainment.
That's true as well.
But outside of that, it doesn't have to be an argument. You could say, hey, listen, you could be very polite about it. Hey, I don't like you doing that. And if you keep doing that, we're going to have problems.
And for all the guys out there, you don't have to be autistic about it. That's one thing I've seen about guys. They'll just start being autistic about something. Yeah. And let's say you tell your girl, take that post down, right? Well, if it's not that bad, I guess, look, with girls, it's not about being a control freak. It's more about what's the red line. Mm-hmm. What's the red line? So that doesn't mean that if you have a wife for 10 years and she does a post that you don't like, that you're gonna go and divorce her real quick. No, but it just means if she crosses a certain red line that you have in your mind that over time you've built, and that is something that you cannot have in a relationship. And it can be different things for many guys, but it's just something that you said that is your red line. Mm-hmm. That is where you have to be like, no, if you cross that red line, I am out. Mm-hmm. So I think that's what it is. Yeah. So, he was saying,
10 minutes.
Let's talk about your coaching and stuff.
Yeah, let's run it, bro. Let's run it. So pretty much, I want to talk to you. Like, how many followers you got now, bro?
Like 4,500.
You got 4,500 followers. I want to ask you, bro, with coaching alone, how much have you extracted from 4,500 followers in USD, bro?
Well, it depends how you do the math, right? If you do it just directly from the coaching, I would say upwards to 500,000. Mm-hmm. And that was in, since when have we started working together? Like 1.5 years, something like that. And I always thought it was fascinating because I remember I hit you up. I remember you had your Lambo, and I was like, who's this kid? Like, what the fuck? Like, why is he like dragging his nuts in Lambo? It was like, what the fuck? And And then you had like this thing saying, "Yo, hit me up and I'll show you how to do it." And I was like, "Fuck it, let me just try." Hit you up. Or like, boom, yeah, I can teach you how to do your social media marketing. And I was like, I don't even have a big social media account. I only have like 4K because my account got banned. I was like, fuck it. He looks inspiring. So let me just, I just paid on the spot. Hop in the call with you. And yeah, you taught me a lot of valuable things, specifically how to sell, how to get clients, how to monetize attention, right? How to, come across an authority figure and be an authority figure that inspires people and has them, believe in you and buy a product that actually helps them change their lives. And the fact that I was able to make that much money just from these 4,500 followers is mind blowing to me. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying just that, just to 500,000, because what I've done also is take what you taught me and I've just applied it generally over my businesses, because I have multiple businesses, right? I have like the B2B business where I sell to other agencies as well. Mm-hmm. And just what you've taught me from that alone is what's generating me the 100K a month right now. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's absolutely amazing actually. And I think it's incredible what you can do just with a little following like that.
Yeah, explain that, because I want you to talk about price points, higher ticket. How were you able to extract $500,000 from 4,000 followers? Because listen, if you had a $20 product, I mean, if we do the math, that's not possible. So I want you to explain that, bro.
Yeah, that's why I like when you mentioned the high margins, because I remember when I was talking to you, one of the limiting beliefs that I had is I can't sell a high product, a product that is higher priced. I remember I was literally asking you like, yo, bro, should I sell like a $50 product, or I can't go over $100? And you're like, hell nah, bro, you can't do that. You need to put the price higher because you're helping people to succeed. And I remember like I did like my first $500 sale, and then you're like, nah, bro, you gotta be higher. I did my first 1,000 sale, and you're like, nah, I gotta be higher. And then my first 3,000 sale, and you're like, still like, nah, I gotta go higher, bro. And I went to my $6,000 sale, and that's when it truly clicked for me. I was like, Prince, how is it that you helping these guys make 10K a month, 20K a month, and you charging them like 1K, $500? That's fucking ridiculous. Mm-hmm. If anything, you should be charging them as high as possible. So now, and the funny thing is, that's an interesting psychology, because if you undersell yourself, and that's with anything in life, and including, we're talking about girls and everything, if you undersell yourself, people respect you less, because people are gonna think, well, how is it that this guy's gonna change my life for just $50 or $100 or even $1,000? If you say, yo, I'm gonna help you get rich, and I have this program, and there this and this and this many people that I've helped to make $10,000 a month, and I charge $6,000 for this, they're gonna be like, this makes sense. Mm-hmm. And even if they're paying in installments, or rates, or doing a down deposit, they're gonna know what they're buying from me is valuable, because you are putting the value on yourself. So that's one thing for sure you taught me, which made a big difference, is just putting more value on the work and the value that you provide to others.
Yeah. So pretty much what you're saying is charging based on the actual service as opposed to the marketplace.
Yeah.
That's one thing I saw too, especially when I moved to Miami. It's like, I had the mentality of in business, I need to be the cheapest price so everybody comes with me. But there's always going to be some factory in China or somebody that can do it for 50 cents. And you're going to end up broke. It's a rat race to the bottom.
Exactly.
So one thing that I respected was designer brands. And especially early on, when I first met my girl, she's like, oh, it's cool because there's this Chanel thing. She wasn't asking, how girls are though.
Yeah,
she's like, there's Chanel. I'm like, why the fuck is this bag $10,000? Yeah. Then I was like, wait, my Rolls Royce $250,000 too, and it's just a fucking normal car. And I was like, oh shit, like they're charging off of, they're not selling the car, they're not selling the features, they're selling the status.
The status.
You know what I mean? And that's a lot of what people buy into as well. If you have a $20 price, like you said about self-image, how are they gonna look at you, bro? Versus if you say, and this is real life. People send me tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars a week. People pay me $35,000 upfront, $35,000. I think we're at, 30-something thousand today already. Mm. And this reality is possible as long as you have the self-image to match your price point, which Absolutely. Most people need. So it's a self-development level. If you look at yourself and you say, let's say you have any type of skill set, maybe it's the gym, which is what I started with. Yep. If you look at yourself and say, hey, I worked hard for 2-3 years, I've built myself to a position I can respect. Hey, I see myself as worth, 1K. I can sell at 1K. Bro, the world's gonna pay you like you're worth that. And I believe at every single level, you have to believe it's gas money. That's what I always say.
Exactly.
We'll make $500,000 a month like gas money. Next month we need $1 million.
That's another thing. It's a mindset shift because you're always going to scoop down to the level that you're most comfortable at. So even for me now, I'm making 100K revenue a month. I got to be like, well, that's not enough. That's chump change. The real money is 1 million a month, 5 million a month, etc. So I've realized that mindset shift alone in your mind makes you think in realms that are just different and that open up new possibilities. You start analyzing your business from the top down rather from the bottom up, and you're just a visionary looking at, well, I can do this, I can do that, and that's what's gonna start generating me these, a million, 10 million a month. And I remember I told you at the gym, in the very beginning of my journey, when I was 21, I was thinking to myself, if I could just make $3,000 a month, like my life would be great. I feel embarrassed even saying that. And I was really, really convinced that that amount of money would be okay for me. But why? Because my reality just didn't permit me to think outside the box. I hadn't seen the world. I hadn't seen the prices of things. I was just in college, and I would just spend the $1,000 my mom gave me for the semester, for the whole of the semester. But now, if you told me, yo, Prince, you're gonna make $3,000 a month, I would literally ask you, how am I gonna survive on that money? I would be like, how am I gonna buy food, water? I don't even know. It sounds ridiculous to some people, but yeah, I would just ask myself how I'm gonna do all these things, because now I have a chef, I have someone who cleans for me, I travel the world. I mean, just even this trip alone now, came to Miami for 3 days. I think I've already spent $3K. Flight here, flight to Austria. I think the Uber back and forth is already like almost amounting to $100 today. So you just change your reality about things, and that's what's gonna allow you to supersede whatever you think that's possible.
That's what I love about it. We'll wrap up on this note too. It never gets easier. You just get stronger.
Yeah.
I'll see guys that are at the absolute bottom, and they're like, Vince, you don't understand the stress I have. I'm like, bro, how much do you have in monthly expenses, bro? Vince, it's 1.5K that I pay in total. I'm like, if I had 1.5K, holy shit, I fucking wish I could go back to that. Bro, though, it costs me $100,000 a month to run my business, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you keep climbing and climbing. Even this trip that we're doing to Dubai, bro, I just paid $20,000 for hotels for 1 week, bro. 1 week. Fucking the first class, business class tickets, $10,000 each.
Exactly.
Like, life just gets more and more expensive, and the beauty of that is the only way it's possible to live a high ticket life is by selling high ticket goods and services.
Yeah.
And you being able to learn that skill set from somebody who's done it is the cheat code that I've personally found to life. I've invested over $300,000 now into self-development and mentors. I've paid people that were ahead of me just to get to the next level. I'm like, okay, that dude's making 9 figures a year, boom, 100,000. That dude's making 8 figures a year, boom, I'm gonna give him 50,000.
Yeah.
And every single dollar I've spent on self-development, no matter how psychotic the mentor may have been, no matter what type of vices they had, no matter how fucked up this person was, I've extracted some type of value that's allowed me to directly upgrade my income.
Yep.
And I practice what I preach, so go ahead.
And why do you think people are scared to get a mentor?
Man, I think it's because, there's so many unsuccessful people online that go, core seller method and this, that. And those same people go and sign their lives away to a college degree and work their entire lives to be break even. Yeah. And it's just, it's programming. Yeah. And I think that stems from a lot of false mentors too. There are some people that charge and then don't have the value, and people have negative experiences. That's what we found. And I've had so many guys that have been burnt in the past and gone, Vince, I'm giving you a leap of faith. My guy Johan's one of them, who just moved out to Miami. His past mentor fucked him over. Yeah. He still had the courage. He's like, Vince, I'm gonna give you a shot. Dude's making $100,000 a month now as well. You know, so it's like, it's being able to fail and get back up. And I'd say a majority of the people though haven't even tried. And it's like,
that's the thing.
Nobody's going to make that jump for you at the end of the day. You have to hate where you're at right now. And that hate, like my hate for the potential idea of me working a 9 to 5 the rest of my life, the end goal of that for me was suicide. So I was like, if I already know that I'm going to kill myself if I do this, there's 2 options. Number 1, I end up homeless trying, or I end up filthy rich. Yeah. And I ended up filthy rich, bro.
Exactly. And on a closing note, since you mentioned that, most people don't even try. That's the big thing. And one thing that helped me really identify who are good mentors is just look at the lives they're living. Do I want to live that life? A lot of mentors, they flex with results, but they don't flex with their life. Do they have the life that you want to live? Do they have the things that you want? You know, you can even just see just off the way they're talking. Do they seem more honest? Do they see? I'll look at people and I'll be like, you just have the face of a rat. I'm not gonna trust you for some reason. But then I look at other people. I just know this guy is living a disciplined life. This guy spits facts. This guy has a great mindset. He has the results that I want out of life, and he has a mentorship for $3,000. Of course, I'm gonna take that. Or in business, if I know a guy has a good reputation, I ask around, and this guy has objective results that I like, that I would, like to have for myself, I will pay the money. And I believe that's where the leap of faith also becomes important, where being courageous becomes important, where not putting limiting beliefs on yourself is important. And the truth is, most mentorships are not even about the mentorships itself or about the mentor. It's about you. How are you going to take the information or whatever that you see or whatever that guy gives you? How are you going to adapt it to yourself because you're such a G, you ninja style it, and you still make it work? And I've seen that's what it's truly about in the end of the day. You can have the greatest mentor on earth. If you're a sloth idiot that moves at the slowest pace possible and you're just not smart about it, you're still going to fail. So yeah, if you're a smart motherfucker, you're a G, and you look at someone who has actual objective results and you speak to him and he seems like an honest guy and you can trust him, you have this gut instinct that this guy is a genuine person, he says great things about mindset, then yeah, absolutely. That's one of the best investments you can make. That will absolutely put you forward because you're going to learn things that you've never seen before. And yeah, you will make it. Every guy who's rich says the same thing. They invested in themselves.
Hell yeah, bro.
So,
Hell yeah. We'll wrap this up, guys. Prince, where can they follow you, bro?
Yeah, you can follow me on my IG. It's Fortunatus. We can blend it in. Fortunatus _ Prince. And I also have a YouTube channel, The Bad Boy Prince. You can follow me, subscribe on that too. And that's really the two main places that I post. You can also follow my Telegram channel. I post updates there. It's I'll blend it in. I forgot the actual username of the Telegram channel. But yeah, those are the places that you can follow me at.
Let's run it. This guy, you got an interview with Tate too, right on your YouTube.
That was my first YouTube video.
Yeah.
And just to say real quick, because I was saying invest in myself, invest in yourself. Before, I had this limiting self-belief that you shouldn't invest in yourself because everyone out there is a scammer. Until I talked to Tate. He was literally my first, I don't even know how I famoosed it. To this day, I'm thankful to Tate that he took that interview with me because I was just some random 20-year-old college kid. And I somehow famoosed him to get an interview. And I talked to him, and the jolt of energy I felt when I talked to him, after I talked to him, is still what drives me till today. Because I saw there's a whole nother world out there, and I can just learn and absorb it by talking to these people. And then, I paid for his mentorship, and that's literally, if you look at the graph of my life, how much money I made, you see like this. Then I was like, all right, let me talk to Tate, let me start investing myself. Whoop, vertical spike to the top. So
yeah, bro.
Absolutely.
And as somebody, to wrap this up too, as somebody who's dealt with some of the highest level people in the info game, you worked with Tate too, would you say that to some degree, I'm up there? Yeah, you know what I mean?
Oh, I mean, if anything, you're outperforming Tate. Because if you look at the age and everything, I mean, you could argue that now it's a little bit easier. You have all this information out there. But I would say you're the Tate for young people.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's another thing. So you want to also get mentorships from people that are similar to you or that are in your age group. Because Tate is now 40. If anything, it might be that when me and you are 40, we'll have the same lifestyle as Tate. I mean, he has hundreds of millions. There's really nothing I could see that could hold us back to such an extent that in the next 20 years, we're not going to make 100 million. It's not that fucking difficult if you look at it. I mean, you could make 20 million in cash in business. You put it in real estate, etc. It doubles, triples over the next 20 years, and then you have hundreds of millions. But absolutely, I would say you're a great inspiration for young people. That's why I always love coming to Miami, hang out with you, and yeah, I really like the wisdom aspect you bring to things. That's really why I think that you're successful, because most mentors out there nowadays, they're really just about the cash and hoes, etc. But you're trying to be a role model, which is, and I try to be that too for everyone I meet, to just be an actual role model. And that's why I also believe that I made the money I made, because people looked at me and they're like, I want to be like this guy. It's not just the money aspect, but the discipline, the athleticism, the hard work. I want to be like that guy. And I believe if you try to be a role model to people the same way you're doing it, then absolutely.
Hell yeah, let's run it, bro. And you guys can follow me too at Vincent Fisher _ on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.